Welcome in, welcome in. New show. Who's this? It's what is it? Dynasty Dilemma.
Dynasty Dilemma, episode
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, episode 1. We should probably give you a quick rundown of, what it could generally look like. It's not going to be a regularly programmed, into our stream schedule for now at least. But it's a good way to like kind of get some other conversation talk, going in the off season especially. Dan and I were always, bouncing back, feedback on different players. There's guys that we disagree on. Yeah, and we'll certainly cover some of them today. Hint at our probably like one of our. I don't think we're like too far off, but like the philosophy, like our reasoning is like completely different though. Is like a Marvin Harrison Jr. getting into him, a couple teams backfields. And we get to talk about kind of like a little bit of a market segment, players going up, players going down, what we think. And it could be like really good players, it could be complete sleepers. Just finding ways to talk about these trending players, and then I don't know, just like any other thing where like we might have a disagreement or we just think that there's like we are just like unsure about what to maybe do with a situation, a backfield, whatever it might be, and try to think out loud and problem solve it.
Yeah, we're kind of being loose with the definition of dilemma. We're kind of using it as like a catch-all word for having like a debate segment on the show, where we're like choosing between two things. We'll probably kick off each episode of this show with like a market watch, risers and fallers in Dynasty, which usually revolves around some type of news. So that'll be involved in that segment as well, catching up on just kind of latest news and how it affects different players in Dynasty. There might be some other segments that we kind of pull into this dilemma word, but yeah, we just thought it'd be a fun way to introduce just some new types of segments into our live streams. And we might also have some special guests on tonight to debate a trade that went down in the listener league today. So, basically
Two of them.
Yeah, two of them. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about both of them. Yeah, there's one in particular that I know everyone is excited to discuss, and I think it'll be a really interesting discussion about like, the value of like picks in the future and kind of the analogy is like the time value of money. So I think that'll be an interesting discussion. We'll have some good debate with some of our league members from the listener league. I guess that's a little clue in terms of who might be coming on today. It should be a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah. Reed's already in here saying, "Yo, what's up?" And Reed, is he confirmed later, or is it just Randy? Or
well, you just have to stay tuned and find out.
All right, because that might not be all. So that should be fun. That'll be at the end. Let's get into Dynasty Dilemma. So what's first? It's the
So we're gonna do our market watch. We'll start off with the market watch. So we got some risers. Daniel Jones, of course, he's been getting first team reps with Anthony Richardson injured. I believe it's a shoulder injury that he's dealing with right now. And I don't know about you, Blake, but I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm just getting the sense more and more that Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for the Colts. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be starting all 17 games. I could certainly see some back and forth, and I don't think it's just like something that's like just solidified and he's like the quarterback of the future or anything. But I think he feels pretty safely entrenched as the current starting quarterback for the Colts. That's the feeling that I'm getting. So how do you feel about that? What do you think how much is his dynasty value rising right now?
Yeah, well, the injury news is everything. There was mixed opinions like before. Once that injury news breaks, it's like, it just sounds like this is Jones. Just to give my opinion on that. Like, and I'm the biggest AR guy. Like, expecting Jones week 1, and because of that, you have to be higher. I mean, Daniel Jones, Trent and I just got him in a co-managed. Like, it was just ridiculous. We kind of just forgot about him.
Mhm.
18-8 we got him at, and it was like, wow. When we were trying to trade up because we messed up and like picked other guys ahead of him,
Mhm.
and like I thought that was ridiculous. What, like a month plus ago. Uh, I don't think like people are actually high enough on him. Maybe from like league, all across all leagues, you'll probably have some owners that are pretty high. But what's his actual value, you think, right now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could always look it up on like Keep Trade Cut and see what it is, although that's not always an accurate
Yeah.
indication of like
If
real
you
leagues and the type of leagues that we're in. I feel like, I mean, I don't think you could get him for a third round pick right now. I mean, I feel pretty
Yeah.
confident. I mean, maybe, I'm not saying it's impossible, but like generally speaking, I don't think the Daniel Jones owner is going to move starting quarterback of the Colts who has rushing ability, who we've seen be a
Yeah.
good fantasy football quarterback before. I mean, he had a good rookie season, and then he also had that, what was it, like 2 years ago or something like that? Or was it three now? He had like a good
Yeah.
season for the Giants a few years into his career. So we've seen him be good before. I mean, there was a time he was a very valuable asset in Dynasty. As crazy as that
Yeah.
sounds now, but his value is definitely on the rise. I mean, I think like the minimum it would take to get him would be like a second,
Like a couple
maybe
thirds kind of thing. Like I
maybe a
don't know. I
couple
don't know if you
thirds.
get
Yeah,
it done, but like that would be, yeah, really like
yeah,
starting the conversation. The thing is,
yeah.
well,
I
yeah,
think that
once you get in the second, that's where it gets a little like I don't want to say he's not worth that.
right,
Because I think he will be worth more than that come the season. But I
right.
don't know if I necessarily do I believe he's gonna play all 17? I think that's the key with the Daniel
Yeah,
Jones is like if you're gonna trade for him, you're probably gonna need to be opportunistic if you're in a you have a dilemma at quarterback and you might want to like almost like try to flip him in a situation like that. Like I don't know what the upside is beyond if you're paying beyond like a late second,
right. Yeah, I'm not saying I would pay that. I'm
but
just
that might
saying,
be
yeah,
what you need to move off of him kind of thing
yeah.
or
But yeah, I think if you want to send like a serious starting offer, it'd probably have to be a couple thirds. Maybe if you want to be a little stingy, like maybe you send a third and like a throw-in player.
I was gonna say,
And
yeah, like a
kind of,
fourth round rookie kind of thing, like a third, and
yeah, something like that. Like what I mean, like Torrey Horton. Yeah, maybe you
yeah,
offer like Torrey Horton and like a 26th third. I think that would start the conversation, something like that.
yeah,
Or even a later player, like even like a I guess someone that you took in the fourth that maybe you don't mind, losing. Maybe just like a random. Well, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say Gadsden because he's next and his value is definitely on the
okay,
rise. But I don't know,
yeah.
Gunnar Helm. How about Gunnar Helm? Like Gunnar
He's
Helm at
he's worth
third.
nothing. But no, I was just thinking like any of those running backs, Woody Marks, Jordan James, stuff like that, because you need something like someone can tell themselves a story on,
Yeah,
and you're trying to like buy a low on Daniel Jones. Like if you're trying to get him right now, like I guess the thing with Daniel Jones right now is like he's a good buy because he's not going to be peaked. Like his value's not going to be peaked. He's not officially a starter. Once that news drops that he's officially a starter, like it's too late. It's pretty much to buy him unless
yeah,
he goes full Sam Darnold arc or slash Baker Mayfield slash I don't know, I guess Jared Goff is in
Jared
there, right?
Goff.
So it's like I mean there's a world because of his legs that he could go there. So yeah, I mean he's a good guy to keep an eye on. I'm
Mhm.
open to buying him if I need a quarterback, I'd say. So
Yeah. Um. Sorry, my phone is just like being weird right now. Okay. Yeah, so next player that we hinted at here, Aronde Gadsden. He seems to be very hyped up right now. He's definitely got some helium right now. He's getting comparisons to Darren Waller by
okay,
the tight ends coach for the Chargers,
okay,
Andy Bischoff, who coached Darren Waller with the Ravens and Giants back in the day. So the quote he said is, I know it's a huge, huge forecast, but I was fortunate to coach Darren Waller, and Darren Waller was a receiver in college. We turned
okay,
him into a tight end. He's got some of those traits. He's, referring to Aronde Gadsden. It's way early, but he's twitchy. He separates. Um, he does some really good things in the pass game. I think as he's become more comfortable in our system in the last 4 or 5 days, I think people are beginning to see that.
okay.
So that's pretty interesting. I mean, that's high praise right there, comparing him to Darren Waller, who's just, stud fantasy tight end for a good few years there, not too long ago. And yeah, I don't know about you, Blake. because I'm not sure exactly how many shares of Oronde Gadsden you have. In most leagues we're in together, I've gotten them in rookie drafts or off of waivers, but I've been getting multiple trade offers for Oronde Gadsden from at least two different managers in different leagues. So people are starting to take notice. So yeah, what do you think about Gadsden? Are you buying this at all?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think I've ever been as high as you on him, though he's been a kind of like a priority waiver guy. Now I think you can officially move him into, like, he's got to go every single draft, and, like,
Oh yeah,
he should probably go by, like, the, at latest, mid-fourth. You know, it's still hard for me to say, like, he's got to be in the third round. Like, there's a lot of good players in that range.
but depending on the tight end premium, I don't think it's crazy to take him in like the early third. If it's like a 1.0 tight end premium, even 0.75, I don't think it's crazy. I mean, I probably wouldn't take him before Fannin. Elijah Arroyo, you kind of debate we're a little lower on him than the market, but
once those guys are off the board, I mean, honestly, like, that's the one tight end I would actually argue Gadsden over, because, like, who would you rather fight off? I mean, I guess it's like not that crazy of a difference, but it's like Fant and Barner, or would you rather battle off Tyler Conklin and Will Dissly?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's just, like, less passing. Is that true? Yeah. I mean, there's, like, both receiver rooms aren't very heavy, but, like, I'd rather, get the Charger. Actually, I don't know about that, but whatever. They're pretty comparable, I guess. The receiver rooms. I guess the Seattle one's a little bit weaker, but Gadsden's interesting. I'm not fully sold because I want to see, like, the training camp stuff. I want to, like, see it. This is the thing. It's like, follow the drumbeat. It's like, don't just jump on the first piece of news. Like, I'm not going out and, like, breaking the bank for Gadsden. I'm keeping an eye on him. If this drumbeat continues, like, he could legitimately be one of these, like, rookie sleepers. It could be the next Darren Waller if things really turn out.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, the chances of that are low, but I've got a good feeling about him. I just love the way he looked on tape. I believe he had the best production profile in this tight end class, and it was considered a good tight end class. So, I mean, I just get good vibes from him. I mean, I follow my intuition when it comes to fantasy football, when it comes to Dynasty. So he's a guy that I liked anyways, and so this is not just about the hype. I mean, I think I have like 7 shares of him now or something like that amongst my, I don't know, 12 or 14 leagues or however many I'm in. But it definitely, it validates that a little bit, I guess. I mean, we'll see how he actually performs when he's on the field. But, I mean, I was already in on him, so, of course, I'm buying it. I did misspeak earlier, though. I think I said early third. That's a bit rich. I don't think you need to take him there. I meant to say late third. I was thinking of Harold Fannin. I don't mind taking in the early third. He's someone that's just kind of rising for me, but not based on any particular news. Although I did see some kind of headline about I think it was just some kind of like sleeper blurb, take that for what it's worth. But they were saying about Harold Fannin that he could have a large role year one for the Browns. So anyways, that's a separate discussion. Yeah. I don't mind taking Fannin early third, but Gadsden, I think late third is probably about the earliest I would really consider him.
That's the key. Don't never take him ahead of those other tight ends. Like they got to come off the board first. Then it's Gadsden time. You just take him any time after that if you're confident in him. Also, Augie in the chat said it's been wild today in the league chat. It has been indeed, but good to see you in here.
Yeah, it's been a busy day just in terms of Dynasty and drafts and league chats and I mean, at least for me personally, a lot going on. So trying to prepare for debuting this new show here. So anyways, going from a former Raider and Darren Waller, we'll go to a current Raider and Dante Thornton, the wide receiver who the Raiders took in, round 4, I believe. Big, fast guy. It looks like he is working with the starters in mandatory minicamp, as reported by Jonathan Williams of Sports Illustrated. So what do you think of that? I mean, he's kind of – I mean, it's hard to get too excited about, like, any wide receiver that was drafted, like, round 3 or later in the NFL draft. I mean, the hit rates are just so low. He has the measurables. I mean, there could be some opportunity there. What do you think about Thornton in general, but more specifically, is it at all interesting hearing that he's working with the starters, or is that kind of what you expected anyways?
It's funny because, like, I want to say that's kind of is what I expect. Like, who else were they going to throw out there? It's like, it's him versus Trey Tucker. And it's like, yeah, I'll take the rookie at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, odds are he's just a cardio. Just because you're on the field doesn't mean you're scoring fantasy points. Right. I don't have... Again, this is a guy who, like, you want to keep an eye on. You want to see if there's, like, actual true drumbeat on him throughout training camp. I think it's a little too early to have some crazy stance on Thornton.
Yeah.
But I do think he becomes like, he could be like a 4-12 pick right now.
Sure.
You could really push him up to the priority of waivers if you were still doing rookie drafts. So, I mean, he's got to be rostered. So, I mean, I'm at least keeping an eye on him. But I don't think this is like groundbreaking news. Like, Trey Tucker's not not that hard to beat out. They're kind of the same person. So.
Yeah, but I think it is encouraging to hear. So definitely someone to keep an eye on. Yeah, wouldn't go crazy over.
Yeah, if he's on waivers, pick him up.
Yeah, and speaking of speedy receivers, Calvin Austin, who's been a long time favorite sleeper of mine. We finally saw some good flashes from him last year. He was a startable piece in like a deeper league at times. He looks good. I mean, he just is a fun player to watch. He's crazy fast. I believe he runs a 4.3. I think he's a really fun player. Anyways, Calvin Austin was labeled the Steelers' wide receiver 2 by their wide receivers coach.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, you got Roman Wilson there, who I think a lot of people are expecting to step up in year 2 after he dealt with injuries his rookie season. Beyond that, I mean, who's the other receivers that they have there right now?
It's really bad. They have
after DK Metcalf, it's Calvin Austin, Wilson. I'm forgetting one
It's
guy.
like not even like worth naming because it's like so bad. Like how just terrible that receiver room is, and that's why I'll say I mean he's probably one of the more interesting picks, like especially in like a best ball, but in Dynasty, like he's literally free. No one cares about him, and he also just he keeps appearing to be dead in Dynasty. Or any fantasy format, and then he just gets this little resurgence, it'll be this one random week he scores 20, and then snaps go up.
The waiver columns as the number 1 pickup of the week, Calvin Austin. So you want to get ahead of it a little bit. You can probably trade for him pretty cheap. Also, of course, with Aaron Rodgers now officially being a Pittsburgh Steeler, it's the wide receiver 2 tied to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I know it's an Arthur Smith offense. It might not be the most explosive and exciting offense in the world. It'll probably be really slow paced, but I think Calvin Austin is halfway interesting here. Yeah,
honestly, if I think we're gonna probably talk about this player after, but I think it's a good way to at least hint at my stance on the player. But why own Marvin Mims when you can own Calvin Austin for free?
Okay.
So
all right.
I like it. That's all I'll say about that.
All right, I like that. I like both players, but I think it's a good argument you can make there. And we'll stay on the subject of fast wide receivers. Jalen Hyatt, the Giants wide receiver, entering year 3. Russell Wilson, the Giants starting quarterback, at least for the moment, is continuing to pound the drum for Jalen Hyatt.
Okay.
He's been getting a little off-season buzz. Wilson keeps talking positively about him. And supposedly Jalen Hyatt has looked like a, quote, different player so far at OTAs. Let's see, that was tweeted by...
Maybe it's because he added 15 pounds of muscle or something. Did you see that?
There was also a report about that. So, I mean, you hate to hear that about a receiver whose best quality is their speed, because obviously you don't want him to lose that. Anyways, though, the tweet about looking like a different player, that's via Jordan Ranan, just to give the source there on X. But I feel we're only so far into OTAs, but I feel like I have, at least so far, been consistently hearing things about Jalen Hyatt. It does seem like he's getting some buzz. Wilson keeps saying good things about him. Let's see. He had a quote. I may have lost it, but anyways, what are your thoughts on Hyatt? Are you buying this at all? I mean, he showed some flashes as a rookie, did absolutely nothing in year 2. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know, you were saying, you're getting the... I've literally heard nothing about Jalen Hyatt, on the Twitter. Yeah, Twitter, I'm on, the most demonic Twitter timeline ever. It's, talking about like Ray McLeod put up 8 catches in minicamp. Like it's like got the most obscure play. I've never heard anything about Jalen Hyatt yet, and maybe it just hasn't reached it yet. Maybe it's just like so far ahead. But like I'll be honest, like Darius Slayton could like not be there, and and I still probably wouldn't care about him very much. But Darius Slayton is there, and Darius Slayton's like actually, if I'm in round 25, Darius Slayton's like I'm smashing him. I'm trading up for him. I got sniped in our listener league for him. So like, I'm Team Slayton. I don't care about Hyatt. I like when you. I guess you picked him up in our league, so you're kind of buying
it. I think the league we co-managed. I think you ended up dropping him for another player we'll talk about in a moment. What's his name? The Afton Chisholm for the Patriots. I barely know anything.
That tells you what I think about Jalen Hyatt. I'd rather the white 4-7
right there, doesn't it? Yeah.
Like I do not care, but
hey, Jalen Hyatt. Are we not talking about a Blitnikoff winner in college? So like I know you can like talk about the Tennessee offense and everything, but like. He had to do something right. So, he was called the best wide receiver in college for a year. So, I think it's halfway interesting. If you're in a deeper league or a league with big play bonuses, and you have a roster spot, I think he's worth adding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on here, Keaton Mitchell, who's been a favorite of mine for a while. I know you kind of wrote him off after the injury, and, of course, he's an undrafted free agent, but this is a guy who averaged 8.4 yards per carry his rookie season, looked explosive as heck. And apparently he feels back to full form. And according to this blurb on Sleeper, Keaton Mitchell's been a standout at Baltimore's voluntary OTAs. And he said Monday that he feels fully recovered from the ACL tear. So, yeah, it sounds like he's looking good and he has his speed back. I've been reading a lot of good things about him. And I was kind of thinking this might happen in year 3, being like 2 years removed now from the injury. I like owning Baltimore Ravens running backs. That's a team that I want to own running backs on. And there's a lot of upside there in that offense, particularly for running backs. What do you think? Are you buying this at all, Keaton Mitchell?
Yeah, I've been completely out, especially last year, because he was like actually getting drafted last year and like half significant, startup ADP. It might have been the teens, but like, there's people that rise out of there. So it's like, dude, he's not gonna play all year. And, like, that's why I'm out, right? That's why I've been so out. But, like, all right, he's coming back to full force. And guess what? Like, no one's even talking or thinking about this guy. I can't fault anyone for just if he's free. Is he on waiver wires? There's no way he's on waiver wires, is he?
He's on some. I just picked him up off waivers in, a free league I'm in. So take that with a grain of salt. Actually, I got him off of waivers in the break room.
Okay.
He was dropped by someone. So
okay.
He might be out there in a few leagues. I think he's owned in, I'm not sure exactly how many.
He's owned in all mine. But I will say, yeah, if I knew he was like at this point on the waiver wire and I just like in a deep league and I got garbage, I got Jalen Hyatt on my bench, like, yeah, I'll drop him for. Hey, or I'll pick him up for that.
Cheap shot.
Hey, I'll pick him up cheap for But here's what I'll say about Mitchell. It's just like, dude, I love this guy as a rookie, but what is the story? Like when are you like actually? Maybe you get like a random spike week if like everything goes right, but like if Henry goes down, it's like it's not the Keaton Mitchell show. It's like first off, they're probably aren't they notorious for just like signing the crusty veterans? Like they probably go out and they sign like insert top name or trade for J.K. Dobbins, or not J.K. Dobbins, trade for Gus Edwards. They're go sign Gus Edwards if Henry goes down.
No, not buying it. They got a full running back room. They got Rasheen Ali as like their RB4, who I think he's silly. Like
that's not we don't even know.
They're good.
He's not even a real player. Like we don't even know. We've never even seen him ever.
They love. They do love Justice Hill, but I think he can go back to being like the RB3. He's kind of like their Ty Johnson. But I think Keaton Mitchell could take over as the RB2. He's that classic change of pace, the lightning to Derrick Henry's thunder. He can catch passes. I think he's going to have a role there. He can rip off the big plays. And he's not going to need a ton of touches to be effective. And then if Derrick Henry does go down, well, then he gets even more interesting. So I think there's some sneaky upside. If you have a zero running back build, he's a great guy to have in your running back room. both as a guy you could kind of throw in as like a desperation start. You might get lucky with a big play, or maybe he has a regular role more than people anticipate. Or Henry gets injured, and then you really potentially have something there. So I think he's pretty interesting. I can't remember a running back coming in and averaging 8.4 yards a carry on 50 rushing attempts. I mean, it's not like he had like 10 carries and did it. I mean, he had like 50 carries, still averaged just a insane number. I mean, it's like video game numbers there. So I have to think there's something to it. I think he's pretty good at football. I wouldn't mind sending a fourth for him. I mean, you might even be able to get him for less than that. Send some roster clogger for him. Send some like veteran receiver like a Darius Slayton that you don't need. I like Slayton, but I'm just saying like something like that.
If you send someone free, but like I really do like Keaton Mitchell. I have liked him. It's just like I just don't see it. Maybe in a best ball league, like that's where I'm like, all right, get him.
Oh, best ball league, no brainer. But even a lineup league, I still like him.
Yeah.
I mean, Justice Snow's like the RB38 last year, and I know you can laugh at that. Oh, the RB38, like who cares? But like, I mean, that could be a usable running back on like bye weeks. Maybe again, like in a zero running back build could come in handy. I mean that has usefulness. That could be a flex play. I mean, you need guys like that on your bench. So I like Keaton Mitchell. And then I think this is the last player on our risers list, Efton Chisholm. We mentioned him earlier. So he is a UDFA that was signed by the Patriots.
Really productive.
Make an impression. What?
Really productive college receiver. I didn't even know that, by the way. Like, extremely, was, like, leading his conference in a bunch of stats and stuff. So
he went to Eastern Washington, so not exactly a big football program. And probably not playing against the best competition.
Cashiers.
So take it for what it's worth. But apparently he's been making an impression at OTAs, according to Mike DeSalt of Patriots.com. I don't know too much about this guy. Looks like he's 5'10", 198.
4.7 40. I mean, everything you want to hear about a Patriots slot, receiver.
Yeah, typical white receiver, Welker, Edelman,
He's checking all my boxes, that's,
right. Exactly.
He's Hall of Fame pace here.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's the takeaway? I mean, he's probably just a guy that if you really, have an empty, a roster spot to play with, and there's no one better on waivers, like, throw him at the end of your bench, see if the hype continues, see if that steady drumbeat is there, and if it's not, you can cut him at any time. I mean, that's how I'm looking at this.
That's exactly it. It's just like you can't pick up Efton Chisholm in August. You can barely do it now. He might be out there in a league or two if you.
Oh, dude, he's getting added in almost every league I'm in. So I mean, I'm just kind of like following the herd. Like, well, if everyone else is adding him, I guess I should at least add a share and just see if there's any legitimacy to it. Before, while I still have a chance to get him.
I had added him in a bunch of leagues where I had spots, and then I had to cut him in one or two, and I think Joshy and I had to cut him, and then we were like, damn it, Now he's gone. I forget what like transaction went, but man, hey, Efton Chisholm, he's like by training camp or by week 1, like he's gonna be cut. This is like the next Kyle Phillips. Mm-hmm. That's all I can hope for.
Oh God, I love Kyle Phillips. He was my kind of receiver
week 1 superstar.
Runner. Yeah, Kyle Phillips, he got signed by the Raiders, so he is still on an NFL team. So who knows? Like, I guess we can't even call him a fantasy zombie because he had like one good game in his like first NFL game and has done nothing since. But I still think that guy has potential. I mean, he'll probably be nothing. But anyways,
hey, Joey in the chat, and guess what he said? He said Cooper Kupp went to the same school. I mean,
who lives in Washington? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm getting more sold by the minute here.
Hey, I like what I'm hearing. So I guess add some Efton Chisholm if you can find a spot for him at the end of your dynasty rosters. And let's go to fallers. We don't have as many here, so we'll just kind of run through this quickly. One faller. I guess we should just start with Anthony Richardson real quick. Of course, if Daniel Jones is the riser, Anthony Richardson is the faller. He's injured. Seems to be losing the grip on the starting job. So what are your thoughts? What are your quick thoughts on AR right now? I mean, if you have him, and you're probably just holding on to him, like you're not going to sell him.
AR since there's just been like no like if you're an AR guy, you just have not been able to sell him for the last since week 1 or week 2, I guess of last year. Right. But like, hey, if there's ever a time AR truther or not to get an AR, it actually might not even be at this moment. but it'll be between this moment to like sometime in the season or when Daniel Jones is named a starter, and he'll just keep falling and falling and falling and falling. And like again, my whole argument, all I'll say, you don't need to be a good quarterback to score fantasy points. That's the Anthony Richardson argument or pro AR thing. It's like I just don't care if he's on the field. He's one of the best fantasy points per dropback quarterback, up there with Justin Fields, Purdy, all the top, Josh Allen, all the top names. And yeah, I mean, we knew he wasn't gonna be a top prospect. So if you're just like completely writing him off at like the ultra discount, I just don't think that's right. But that doesn't mean you can't be anti Daniel Jones as well. I think like both of these are interesting buys, and as a combination, they're pretty cheap. Like way to lock up a QB2 spot right now. Like, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, you get both of them. So yeah, I mean that's definitely not a bad strategy. Yeah, I even did that. I believe in one of my startups. Actually, league that Joey started. Yeah, we call it Rounders, like after the poker movie with Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I ended up trading AR to Joey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like you, he seems to be one of like the few believers left. But I still have Daniel Jones, so I just have one of them now. But in any case, yeah, not a bad strategy locking them both up. But real quick, like if you don't own either of them, like are you sending out any buy low offers for AR? Are you willing to do that just to kind of take a cheap shot at them?
I'd actually at this point, I'd probably just wait till Daniel Jones is like actually named the starter. Like once he's the back, like it's not even, we haven't even reached the bottom yet for AR. So. Yeah, wait till then, I think.
Yeah. Anyways, we will go now to our next faller, which I guess is Travis Hunter. We had some quotes come out from, is this the Jags GM, James Gladstone?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So the quote he said is, our understanding that Travis is most naturally comfortable, most naturally in tune on the defensive side of the ball. We wanted to load him offensively throughout this window to ensure that by the time we got to training camp, we had a runway built up on that side because there's so much more nuance, so much more adjustments in real time on the offensive side of the ball that would require a lot more learning. So that's a pretty interesting quote. I mean, basically the Jags GM is saying that Travis Hunter is more naturally a defensive player.
Yeah, you know what was interesting because if you listen to any of the scouts it's funny because like as a receiver, I don't think this is like shocking news. Like so I guess it's one thing to hear it from the GM, but like they scouts and everything was saying like as a route runner, like there's a lot to be learned and improved on by like, and that's kind of been like the bullish take on Hunter though is like he's somehow this like elite separator that has a lot of room to grow with. So like I guess I'm like I don't know I'm kind of taking it like his quotes from like the GM's quotes like kind of in like that fashion where it's like and then he's also talking about the offensive system, there's audibles and all this stuff like that, motion, and we know that Cohen's got a pretty complex like moving guys around, like you might be asked to do a lot. So I mean from that point it makes sense to me, but like sure if I don't know what you can exactly take away from Hunter, like on Hunter here. I guess if that's like a reason for him to like, I guess in those rookie drafts, if that's the reason he's dropping to the mid first, I'm still buying. I'm not concerned. I expect him to play some defense. The question is how much. I have no clue. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think does this change anything for you that he's a more gifted defensive player at the moment or something, the quote is?
It's not what I want to hear. I mean, like I need Travis Hunter to be a wide receiver for him to score fantasy points. I mean, unless you're in an IDP league, and I'm only in one of them.
That's right.
So he's pretty interesting in that league. I mean, he could be, the ultimate cheat code perhaps. But if we're just talking about regular fantasy football leagues, which is the case for most people, I need Travis Hunter to be a wide receiver. He's not doing me any good as if he's a defensive back out there. Now, if he's doing both, like maybe that can work. I mean, that's not something we've really seen before. I mean, that's a whole discussion. We've talked about it before. I mean, no one can really say for sure what that would look like. But, like, I mean, he needs to play a high percentage of snaps on offense in my opinion, to be anything, to even have a chance of being anything close to an elite, receiver in fantasy football. And I mean, we're usually drafting for upside. I mean, yeah, you need like some wide receiver 2s, some wide receiver 3s on your team as well, like no doubt. But I mean, we're drafting this guy because we're thinking like, hey, this might be the next Odell Beckham, the next Justin Jefferson, like that type. So yeah, like if he's only playing like 50% of snaps, like, yeah, I guess he could be efficient, but like, I don't know if that's really going to get the job done for you. I mean, if you're really going after ceiling. So it is concerning because, I mean, part of the appeal of Travis Hunter is that the Jags spent so much to trade up in the NFL draft and draft him. And like, why would they do that if it wasn't for a wide receiver? And it just seemed like they were viewing him that way by, all indications that we had. I mean, it seemed like that was a constantly changing thing, but I mean, it seemed like once the Jags drafted him, it's like everyone felt pretty good about it. I mean, that was
I see. So like that, maybe I guess that's the thing. Maybe the expectations like have altered depending on how you were looking at, because I think the hot thing for Hunter is like, I don't think it was anyways this 100 and there's a clear difference here between 100% snap player and being like a high percentage route participation player, right? There's a huge gap in between you could be a 60% snap player, and you're like, and your participation could be in the 90s for route participation, right? So like there's some nuance between that. So like, I'm not looking into it as like I need him out there run blocking every single play. Like,
for sure,
they can pick and choose. Like, yeah, I want him out there as much as possible, but like I guess it's kind of like I hopefully he's better than Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's running a ton of routes, but he's not out there every snap. So like, yeah, he could kind of fall into that archetype, but like, you don't need to be out there 100%. And right. I guess like my expectation is, yeah, he's gonna play some defense. He's not gonna be out there 100%, especially to start. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can do too much with this quote. This is just something to keep an eye on for me. Is like, owning 50% Hunter, it's like, oh man, if things keep going to like the defensive side of the ball, like maybe I should sell some,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like time to panic or anything. And yeah, if you can get a discount on him, like, yeah, probably not the worst time to buy him. I mean, I think the upside is still there, and we shouldn't, we don't want to overreact. I mean,
I think it's the key
coming out about Travis Hunter that.
We haven't
feel one way or the other, so you don't want to react too much to anything there. But yeah, I was kind of surprised to hear the quote. It's not what I want to hear, but yeah, definitely not panicking. And I think you do make a good point. I really don't care that much if he's out there run blocking. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't say, 50% of snaps. I should say that like, yeah, I don't want him only being out there for like 50% of routes. Like, I feel like he's going to need more than that to be productive. The only concern, I guess, from like an NFL standpoint, which could impact fantasy, is if he's only like, for the most part, out there when he's going to be running a route. Well, then that becomes really predictable.
You'd be surprised.
Out there, they're throwing the ball in this play, so let's rush the passer.
Really like legitimate thought, and like you'd be surprised, but like, dude, the Laquan Treadwells, like I wonder if we could pull data. There's like a 90% chance of running when you see like Laquan Treadwell in history like run out on the field. It's like, yep, they're running. It's every team has that guy, or like half the teams in the NFL have that guy. It's like, yeah, they're okay, yeah. So we're it's like teams, we say that and it's crazy because like, yeah, something the Vikings would do last year. Powell and Trent Sherfield are on the field. Mm-hmm. Where's Jefferson and Addison? And Oliver's out there instead of Hawkinson. Right. And it's first and 10. I think they're gonna run it. And sure enough, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, teams like, I don't know. So yeah, it is pretty funny conversation about that.
I
don't know.
Okay. Yeah, interesting discussion there, but definitely not panicking on him. And yeah, maybe take the discount. I mean, we still think there's an upside there. So yeah, we'll finish up the segment here. We got a few players about whom I'm not exactly sure why they're falling. I think this is like mostly according to like Keep Trade Cut that we found these names, or maybe some of them might just be anecdotally like what we've seen in leagues. But it definitely seems like there's some falling value for Joe Mixon, James Cook, DK Metcalf, and Jared Goff. Now, the only one I can kind of understand here is James Cook because he was holding out from OTAs for a while with the contract disagreement, but he then reported to minicamp finally. So, I would think his stock would be back up. It doesn't appear that that's the case. But yeah, in terms of the other guys, Mixon, DK Metcalf, Jared Goff, like I have no clue why their value would be down. I mean, I guess for Goff, like it'd be like Ragnar retiring, but like,
yeah,
I mean,
Mixon, I understand. Yeah, oh yeah, there's a Ragnar. Mixon, and then all the coaching, but Mixon, I understand he was in a walking boot, which was barely talked about. And then also Nick Chubb gets signed.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense. I kind of
so that one. About that. Regardless of kind of like how you feel about any of that news, like it makes a lot of sense why he's falling. That's what you'd expect from those little news bits.
Sure. Yeah.
And then
DK Metcalf, like
this is where I'm confused.
Aaron Rodgers, you think it'd be like DK Metcalf to the moon, right? But not so much.
Well, yeah, I've been so anti DK Metcalf, and I guess this is like, this is just like how I try to play Dynasty, especially hey, I'm in a startup and I'm down bad at receiver. And I'm looking for a guy that can kind of step up and have a wide receiver 1 weekly upside. Mm-hmm. I saw DK Metcalf on that, and I was like tempted to trade up, but just thinking, all right, like people, the vibes are bad. It just seems from the community. I could probably wait for him, and really, why is he's already fell maybe 16 plus spots this offseason. It appears to me from what I've been able to see from data. Because of the Pickens, because of no drafting a quarterback, and I agree that he was way overpriced. Then stuff has happened to drive his price down, but guess what? The Pickens thing. I wasn't supposed to say that now. Pickens got traded away. Okay, right. There's a bump to DK Metcalf, a pretty clear bump after he gets paid. For what that matters. I don't necessarily care too much about that, but it shows they at least value him as an alpha. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers signs. Who are they going to throw to? And why is he? Yeah. And why is
Austin, baby, but jokes aside, yeah.
And why is his price not correcting? So I went from no way I'm touching. I also just learned that he had an MCL sprain early on in the season, and I can kind of excuse the terrible numbers last year because the few weeks prior to the injury, he was actually pretty damn great. Per route and fantasy production, so makes enough sense to me. I'm willing to buy that a bit. So DK is low key. I don't even want to say a disgusting buy. Don't you think he's a buy if you need a receiver?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He just seems like one of the easiest guys to acquire. I can't remember whether we officially had him on that list where we did the draft on stream of the most untradeable players in Dynasty. I think we had DK Metcalf. I'm pretty sure we had DK Metcalf on there. He's a guy that nobody wants, and it just seems he was overpriced for multiple years, and I think people still have just had bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
To the point where now he's undervalued.
Yeah.
And he's in a pretty good situation, not the best. I'm not dying to own receivers in an Arthur Smith offense, but he is the wide receiver one there. Yeah, he's the only one. He's got Aaron Rodgers throwing to him now. You could do a lot worse. He might be at this point. He might be a pleasant surprise. So, I think he is a pretty nice buy if you need a receiver. And it's one of those things where the whoever owns them, they'll probably still be trying to get a first out of you or something. But if someone's really desperate to get rid of them, okay, maybe you have to pony up a late projected first. But
you
could
can
you get DK Metcalf and a late projected second back, or maybe an interesting player,
Jalen Wrights and stuff like that.
You get Jalen Wright tossed in, or at worst a third. You get DK Metcalf and a third. You give a late projected first, or maybe you get him for 2 seconds, or maybe a second and older running back kind of thing, a James Conner. I don't know. He's
probably would be my best candidate for if you especially in a startup, and because I literally just did this. But I'm not saying this because I did it. I'm saying because that was my strategy. I truly believe if you need firepower, you need I think the best way to put it too is you need weekly upside. Like in a 1 week, it's week 17, and like you need a guy that can go and score 3 touchdowns. Like DK Metcalf fits that bill. Like we know he's a spike week player. He also can have the volume can get there. Like I'm like all of a sudden a little excited about him, and I did not see that coming at all. It's just I think the market's way off on this one, or well, it's just off. It doesn't need to be way off, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he's kind of interesting for teams that go 0 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Now I know it's not like an established term and like a specific strategy that teams do. I mean, it seems pretty counterintuitive these days because wide receiver is probably like the most important position in Dynasty, generally speaking, these days, at least in my opinion. But we saw a lot of very interesting and unique builds in the startup draft in the listener league for the for our channel here that we just completed recently. And Blake, your team, like, I mean,
Zero.
kind of invent a term here. I'd say your team wins 0 wide receiver. Joey's team wins 0 wide receiver. I could almost say that Randy and Reed's team kind of wins 0 wide receiver a little bit. Because that's just kind of the way the draft board fell to you guys, / maybe for some of you it was maybe even a specific strategy. I think that might apply to you, Blake. But either way, I think DK Metcalf, just like we talk about certain running backs, they're like, oh, that's great for like a 0 running back build. I think DK Metcalf is like the perfect wide receiver if you kind of went with like a 0 wide receiver build, so to speak.
Yeah, he's just like he's probably one of the cheapest like alpha receivers, and like we've actually seen, I mean, just like it's hard to say when like you have a receiver like that can score touchdowns and make big plays. Like, his upside's limited. Like, is it really, especially like from a weekly standpoint? So like, all of a sudden I flipped the switch, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. And I never imagined I would have done that when we started, by the way. Like, no chance I would have told you I was going to do that.
And, like, if, like, a year from now or at the end of the season, we look back and say, like, oh, crap, like, DK Metcalf was, like, the wide receiver 15.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
The wide receiver 12 even, like, and let's just say a dream scenario here. I'm not saying that's likely or anything, but if he's like a top 12 to 16 receiver, like, are we really going to be that shocked? Like, I mean, that's probably, like, a reasonable upside that he could hit.
Dude, like, I want to, let's be reasonable, but, like, literally top 12, dude, Terry McLaurin, just, like, Terry McLaurin, he just needs to be Terry McLaurin last year. He needs to get there with touchdowns, make big plays. He's the only get there through the volume.
And Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the ball when he's in close. I mean, other than like Freiermuth, like who do you think he's going to be looking for in the red zone? I mean, it's probably going to be DK Metcalf, like big strong target. So like, I mean, it wouldn't be that crazy to think he could have 10 to 12 touchdowns maybe in a best case scenario. He'll probably have 1,000 yards. I mean, it'd probably be surprising if he didn't. So
if the touchdowns are there, you're going to be happy. So
I'm kind of buying it. And then just real quick on the other guys, we don't have to go in a big discussion, but are you buying the dip on any of Mixon, James Cook, or Jared Goff here? Do you think any of those guys are good buys right now?
I mean, Goff's always been a good buy, even with the regression stuff. Like, it's already way baked in anyways. So that's all I need to say about that.
The 508 or 510 in the startup draft. I mean, I thought that was a bargain.
Yeah, that's all I need to say about that. Mixon, I'm a little iffy. I'm kind of like not buying the dip. I'm like following the dip. Like I'm on board with that. Like maybe it was a tad overpriced anyways.
Okay.
There's now 3 interesting backs there to at least play a role, and then James Cook.
I mean, the fact that they signed Nick Chubb, I mean, that does give me a little bit of like that definitely makes me raise an eyebrow and think like, are they a little concerned about that? I mean, not that it's a bad idea to just have some good depth and everything, but I mean, they have other good running backs there in Woody Marks, Dameon Pierce. So the fact that they still felt the need to go out and sign Nick Chubb, I mean, maybe they just thought Nick Chubb is too good to just be sitting at home on his couch. Like, hey, if no one else wants him, we'll take him. But it does make me raise an eyebrow there. Yeah,
in startups too, he goes ahead of the other vets, so it's just like I'm not too eeger to get him. Yeah. I don't want to say I'm like I'm completely fading him, but it's I'm a little skeptical. And then Cook could like damn near be reaching the DK Metcalf arc for me, where it's like there is no way in the world I'll ever touch James Cook the past 500 days of Dynasty.
Right.
But now I took him in an orphan, and like no, in a 14-team league, no one wanted anything to do with him. I did get lucky; someone sent me a first and a second for him, and if he plays, that should be his market value at least, and especially in a 14-team league. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, I mean, his price is like corrected, but now it's like he just went 7-3 in our startup. You know, it's only a one league sample, but like at that point, yeah, I could see drafting him. I don't want to say I'm buying the dip, but someone to keep an eye on if he keeps keeps falling. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. And then should we catch up on the live chat before we go into our next segment here? And also, I mean, so the next segment is going to be debate. I mean, I think, let's see, how many different items were we going to debate here? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 written down. I don't think we're going to have nearly enough time for that, especially if we want to get our guests on sooner than later. You know, we don't want to be streaming for like north of 2 hours here. So I think we pick like 1 or 2 of those, and we can always save the others for next episode of Dynasty Dilemma. So I don't know if you're looking at the show sheet now, Blake, but do you want to take a quick glance at that and let me know if you have any thoughts about like which 1 or 2
let's just do Marvin Harrison because I just think this one's interesting. I want to do it because I feel like everything I've heard, it's like, yeah, Marvin Harrison, like yeah, you drafted him, like you know, he's good. You know, I mean, I don't fully disagree, but I have some pushback.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, basically, the pro Marvin Harrison argument, which I will make because I am definitely the believer here, and I took him, you know, put my money where my mouth is because I took him in our startup draft at I believe the 206. Took him over Trey McBride, even with a 0.75 tight end premium. Took him over Drake London. Took him over Nico Collins. And I just felt like he was the best player on the board, so that's why I took him. Yeah, the argument for him, I mean, it's pretty simple. I just think he's a stud talent. I mean, he was considered a generational wide receiver coming out of college. It seemed like he's the total package. I mean, we know this guy can play football. Year 1, the expectations were just ridiculous in terms of what people were expecting. I mean, what he was going at like the 1-2 turn and like redraft leagues, or at least on like underdog. Yeah. I mean, that was ridiculous. And even being a believer in Marvin Harrison, I mean, I was saying that was ridiculous. So the expectations were too high. It was very predictable that he wasn't going to reach those his rookie season. I mean, I'll let you present, you know, the cons of how it might not be like the greatest situation. But the reason I'm believing him is pretty simple. We know he's a stud talent. We know he's entering year 2. That's often when we see the biggest leap taken by players is going into their second year in the NFL, especially at wide receiver. I mean, Kyler Murray isn't like the best passer in the NFL, but I mean, he's certainly a good enough quarterback. I mean, he shouldn't be holding Marvin Harrison back from becoming one of the best receivers in the NFL, in my opinion. I just think it's going to be one of these situations where we look back and Marvin Harrison becomes exactly what we thought he was all along, and we're looking back and asking ourselves, like, yeah, like, why weren't we buying the dip on this guy? Like, I mean, it's just going to be such a missed opportunity. So I'm buying it. If I can get him in the 2nd or 3rd round of startups, like, that's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you asked me last year, and pretty much I think we talked about this, is like, man, yeah, Marv, like, if you could ever get a discount on him, like, with disappointing season, like, maybe it's because we were kind of seeing that unfold at some point. We're like, yeah, I'm so in. But then, yeah, I looked into it a little more, heard some other kind of varying, like, anti-Marvin thing, and it's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't just be, like, so blind to be like, his name's Marvin Harrison, you know, and he was a 4th overall pick. Which, like, genuinely...
I mean, his dad was I don't know, is his dad actually in the Hall of Fame? He should be if he's...
Yeah, he is. Genuinely, like, that is, like, the most amount of, like, ADV you could possibly have is, like, a 4th overall pick in, like, the prospect he was. Imagine if, like, Travis Hunter's dad was like Deion Sanders. like, my God, like, dude, this guy, like, somehow he'd be like going ahead of Gent. Like, I swear, dude. Like, but Look, yeah.
Also, we didn't even mention that about Oronde Gadsden, but his dad was a player in the NFL as well.
All right.
So he's got some good bloodlines.
Gotta bump him.
But yeah, that's also a nice thing about Marvin Harrison is like that if he comes out like week 1 and puts up 100 yards and a touchdown or two, I mean his value is going to skyrocket. It's like, oh, here we go, he's right back to being Marvin Harrison Jr. in all capital letters.
See, so, I don't know what's better, the fact that like is it better that his name is Marvin Harrison Jr. or is it worse? Because
it's better.
Because when I mean, dude. Wouldn't his price be a little bit lower?
I'm not saying he's like easy to buy, but it's not like trying to get Justin Jefferson.
He would be a lot easier to buy right now if his name wasn't Marvin Harrison Jr. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but I still think he's a very sneaky guy, receiver to tier down to. So, can you tier down from like a Nico Collins, a Drake London, or even?
I think that's the issue, though. What are you getting to do that? Tier down, like you're not getting anything to do that.
Well, my contention is you're getting the better player. So if you get anything on top, you're winning that. I mean, you're straight up. I think you're winning that. That might be a bold prediction, but like if you can get a second on top of either of those receivers, like I'm happily doing that. I mean, I could see if I'm like a strong contender and I don't want to like if I'm adverse to risk. Okay, maybe I'm just taking the safe, sure thing in London or Nico Collins. But if I'm in like kind of like a what Fantasy Stock Exchange would call like a house money season or where like I might contend, but like I'm not like one of the best teams, and I can afford to roll the dice a little bit. I would happily down tier, and the higher receiver you down tier from, like the more you're getting on top. So I think Marvin Harrison has just as much, if not more, upside than just about any receiver in Dynasty.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I really don't think. I think that's the key. I don't think our opinions really differ on Marvin Harrison. Right. At all, like genuinely, like at all. Right. But I've said these same things about Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, all priced the exact same, by the way, as Marvin Harrison is right now, the past couple years, and I mean their name isn't Marvin Harrison, but like we just saw the wide receiver 1 season from Garrett Wilson, and it's like, he's went down in ADP, like he's literally went down in ADP from last year to this year. And, like, people think he's a sell. Like, it's like, dude, he was just a wide receiver 1. Granted, a weak year for receivers. But it's just so funny how that works, like, to me. So, like, I've bet on these other receivers. And to me, maybe it is, like, I've made these bets on really talented receivers. And it's just, I haven't seen it work out. And it's like, yeah, I'm looking at Marv. He's walking back in the same situation where Kyler Murray, like, truly hasn't. I mean, he's had some weapons, like, of, like, completely washed AJ Green and Fitz and all those guys, but, like, he's never supported more than one. You could say it's because he hasn't had those true weapons beyond DeAndre Hopkins at once. But, I mean, I'm kind of buying that narrative. It's like, I don't know if the ceiling is what maybe you think it is this season, with Kyler Murray, with this offensive coordinator, and I think that's the key. He's walking back in the same situation. If they do not completely change and overhaul that system, put him in the slot, like, dude, if you told me right now he's going to be moving around, they're basically going to use him like, I don't know, Brian Thomas and the Jeffersons and Chases of the world, like, I'd be a lot more, I would not have zero Marvin Harrison right now, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I'm banking on the Cardinals doing some self-scouting, using Marvin Harrison in better ways, more creative ways, easier ways to get him the football and not be some difficult thing. And I think also another issue that you didn't point out, but maybe it was sort of factored into maybe a little bit. Well, I would differentiate it from just the offensive coordinator there not using him well. But another issue is Kyler Murray being a short quarterback. And so it's not as easy for him to see over like these big, tall offensive linemen. So it's easier for him to like throw to outbreaking routes rather than in-breaking routes. So I think that also works a little bit against the kind of routes that Marvin Harrison typically runs, as opposed to the type that McBride runs, which might be more outbreaking. So that could be a bit of a challenge as well. But like, it's just one of those situations where I'm just like not going to overthink it. My brain is basically going to like, Marvin Harrison is a stud.
Yeah.
He just hasn't fully realized yet. I'm going to buy him while his stock is still low, and I'm going to laugh all the way to the bank when he breaks out in year 2, year 3. Hopefully it's year 2. I mean, that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, this is just where the differing in opinions is like if I feel pretty confident, or just like, especially when it's just someone so expensive, like, you know, I know you took him ahead of at ADP, but like 2.6, like, yeah, okay, technically the ceiling's 1-1 for any player, but like,
yeah.
I mean, you know, Jefferson's going from like pick 7 to 9. It's just like, you know, the ceiling for value, yeah, okay, like, I don't know, I feel like that's the Marv thing right now is like, is like, yeah, like his value is going to go way up because he's so young and good. And then and also he's going to score much more points, but it's like it is a lot of projections off that rookie season. The one thing too, like, he didn't run like any in break years. They made it so difficult. 0 screens. Like, you could say, hey, he's going to catch a screen pass this year. That could be a pro Marvin. That could be pro, but it's the same damn system. It's the same situation he's walking back into. And I think that's just the key for me, is like, I guess we've seen these situations play out, right? In year 2, dynasty managers are so impatient. And then when you're in season and you have these random players spiking and going nuts, like Marvin, his price might go down slightly, but you might own some veteran, Chris Godwin last year. You might own Chris Godwin this year, and the gap to like go from that Godwin to Marv might be like unbelievably small compared to what it is right now between those two players. And I know that's a specific scenario, but it doesn't have to be that exact. There's many different situations where you can then capitalize when you can if you can look ahead to like, okay, this OC is about to lose his job. Oh, who's next up in line? Oh, it's this like young, you know, offensive minded and like, I don't know, like the next Liam. I have no idea, right? But maybe that's a year 3 thing. Maybe that's a year 3 argument for him.
Or I mean, if they Cardinals come out and they're doing like the same thing, not getting Marv the football, like this offensive coordinator might not have a job by like week 6.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm buying. When he's out of his job. Dude, okay. I think the best way to break it up is either that, like when that guy gets fired, just before that's what you want to be in, or it's like I'm looking at Marv in a week 1 to 8 window right now. I don't even want to talk about week 9 to 17 because I don't know what's gonna go on there. I don't know what situation's gonna change. I'm talking about the first month or 2 of the season. We know he's in the exact same situation, and by mid-season, people, they could have a bad taste in their mouth. And then you could really capitalize on what you're trying to do of buying Marvin Harrison low.
Yeah, but I guess I'm just betting more on a real possibility that like he just comes out week 1 and it's like, oh, this is a different year for Marvin Harrison, and like your buying window is officially gone, you know? Yeah. So hope you got your share this offseason. So I'm considering that real possibility. But I understand, you know, it sounds like we feel the same about the player. Maybe it's just I have a little more confidence that it's going to come sooner than later, or I see a little higher probability. But I completely agree with you. If you don't think it's going to happen like the first half of the season, let his value dip and then buy him even cheaper at that point. So I'm with you if that's the way you feel. Yeah,
and I remember we were talking about him. You know, we were like, hey, if he just catches 6 balls a game, you know, hey, he's at this amount of catches and this amount of yards. Yeah. It's like, how many games did he catch 6 balls or more? I think it was 0. I literally think it was 0. I think he had one game he had 6. Mm-hmm. But he had never had more than 6 catches, and it's like, oh yeah, like that's how the NFL works. Like the defense, like you don't just like catch 7 balls because your name's Marvin Harrison. Like,
right.
I don't know. I've become more in that mind of thinking where it's like I'm trying not to let like the ADV get to me on these players. Like I'm trying to, I don't know, be more realistic on like on how I'm projecting players week 1 and beyond.
And 6 catches a game for 17 games if he stayed healthy, that'd be 102 catches. So, I mean, and 6 catches a game. I mean, that doesn't seem that ridiculous. So if he catches more than 100 passes and he has 1,200, 1,300 yards, close to, 8, 10 touchdowns. I mean, that doesn't even seems pretty reasonable. And
sure.
I definitely think value would go up in that scenario.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, that sounds like something
like,
you could do,
Yeah, I mean...
if they use them properly,
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know I'm optimistic about Marv, but it's hard to imagine, much worse than, I don't know, 90 to 100 catches, 1,100 yards, call it 8 touchdowns. It's hard to imagine much less than that if he's healthy for 17 games.
For me, I would have said last year, if you told me that for year 2, last year I would have agreed, but I don't know. I mean, we did just rookies that are really good need 0 time to adjust, and it's just I don't know. Again, it just goes back to the same situation. I think he could pace that out in the second half of the season if there's a change. That's where I want to be clear. I think he can get to that pace at some point, even this season.
Yeah.
I'm just not betting on that week 1. I just don't know if there's enough to be gained for me to really care about Marvin right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, he's definitely a player I'm planting my flag on this season. So yeah, he's one of those players I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Got a couple shares of him. I wish I had more. Maybe I'll get another one by before week 1. But yeah, definitely an interesting player. And yeah, we'll leave it there for the debate segment here. We had some other debates planned, but yeah, we're just running too short on time because we yap way too much. But what are you gonna do? But yeah, let's move on. Let's bring our guests on. So, do you want to send out the Zoom link to? I don't know. Should we give away who our potential guests are? Hopefully, this works out because our guests out there, they have lives and everything, and we weren't able to tell them an exact time that we were going to ask them to come on. So hopefully this doesn't fall completely flat here, but we're hoping they're able to join us. But basically, our guests are going to be Joey Bradley, of course, from the Listener League, as well as Randy, also from the Listener League. So, we got we got a specific topic we're going to talk about. I guess I can just give a little preview of that. I mean, basically, we're going to be talking about a trade that went down in the Listener League today where Colossal Tighten Up, Jared, he sent away Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, so basically the Colts quarterback room there. And he got back from Joey Bradley his 2028 first-round pick. So it was a pretty interesting trade, definitely generated a lot of conversation in the league chat. So, and some league members expressed interest in coming on a live stream and talking about it. So we are giving them that opportunity. So we thought it'd be fun to talk about that trade.
Yeah, I just sent them. I just covered the screen up. I sent Randy and Joey the links. So I tagged them. We'll let them jump in, but. Yeah.
You can catch us on the live chat here while we're waiting for them to roll in here. Let's see. Wait, Austin O'Neill. Wait, who's that? Oh, is that Augie?
That's Augie, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we got Augie here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we already said Joey's comment about how Cup went to Eastern Washington. Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you. Yeah, thanks for joining us, man.
Nice. Yeah. Pleasure.
Welcome back. Hey, can you also would you be able to flip your phone? Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So just so we can see you. And I'm gonna change our overlay real quick.
Yeah. Yep. So here, I'll just finish catching up on the live chat real quick while we wait for Randy to roll in here as well. But Cooper said Tyreek, his big year was usually playing around 70% of snaps, but high route participation. If Hunter is robbed of 30% of snaps on offense, he's going to need to have that prime Hill-like production. Okay, so that's kind of an interesting comparison to Tyreek Hill. I guess Tyreek didn't play a ton of snaps early in his career, but he was still productive. So I actually think that's a really interesting comparison. I don't know if you guys thought about that.
Yeah, I think the key is you can't make that bet if you're a mid receiver, but if you're a generational type player, it can work.
Yeah. How about you, Joey? Do you have any Travis Hunter? Are you a believer there? Or are you a little more cautious about that whole thing of defense or offense?
I've been the anti Travis Hunter guy.
Okay.
Um, but that being said, I didn't watch a ton of Colorado football, and I
Yeah.
and I haven't seen a ton of. I just like haven't seen enough film of
Hmm.
Travis Hunter
Right.
to be wowed by the so-called the so-called like football skills, like the ability to grab the ball out of the air. Like I guess it's like uncanny and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
for me, I just don't quite understand. Like for me, the hard part is I'm a huge Brian Thomas Jr. guy.
Okay.
So with that in my mind,
Yeah.
like I just went out and bought Brian Thomas Jr. this
Yeah.
offseason
Okay.
and paid like a big price for it too.
Oh yeah.
So
Not cheap.
because of that, I have one share of them. I
Yeah.
have
Okay.
one share, and if it goes well for me, great. And I think if his price goes down a little bit, I could see myself buying more of them.
Mhm.
Like if the price was right,
Yeah.
but I'm just not a huge guy on it just
Okay.
because of the toll, I think, of playing both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Which is a
I just see that
legitimate.
as the best.
Yeah, it was a legitimate concern because, like, really, like, no one has done it before. I mean, that's the most concerning part. Is like, no one's like done it to the way we're projecting it to go. If he's gonna be like a fantasy asset.
For sure.
Yeah, there is one scary thing on draft night where it was like, oh boy, receiver corners. Though I will say this is all like 2000s and earlier, and this is just a different generation of football. But it was like Champ Bailey, Deion Sanders, and like there was another guy, Darrell Revis, and it's like, oh dude, all like amazing players, but they all play corner.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah, that's not a list you want to hear if you're
yeah,
hoping Travis Hunter works out as a wide receiver. That's for sure.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Joey, yeah, while we're still waiting for Randy to roll in here, how you feeling about your team in the listener league? I think you put together a pretty sick team here. I mean, you've been aggressive, you're trading up like Howie Roseman, living up to your reputation of your nickname there. And yeah, you're moving those future firsts, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, pretty sick team. I mean, you got the two stud quarterbacks and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. You got the sickest running back room with like all these like awesome older veteran running backs like Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, and then you even got a bunch of nice running backs on your bench. You get Tyler Warren as your tight end, like fun young tight end. You kind of went zero wide receiver, which is like a new term I'm coining here. But I'm sure you'll figure it out. You'll be trading more. But yeah, how you feeling about your team? I mean, definitely a fun build you put together there, man.
Yeah, I can tell you this was not a strategy that I had going into that draft.
Mhm.
Um, this is the this is I think I'm as surprised as anyone else might have been by the
Yeah,
results of this draft. I haven't been in that many startups yet,
yeah,
so I've only been playing Dynasty for this is my second year,
right.
and I'm already in 9 leagues now.
I love it.
But
Got the bug.
I've taken over like 6 orphans, I think.
Oh,
So
I love it. That's what I do. I'm like the
yeah.
orphan
yeah,
guy. So yeah, I think that's so much
so
fun.
this is
Um,
really only my third startup, technically, I think, and one
okay,
of those was like a very rapid,
oh,
quick fire
right.
startup,
yeah,
just
Okay,
like 3 minutes per pick, so there was no trading involved. So
okay.
for me, this was highly experimental, and
Oh yeah,
once I made I think I think like 10 minutes into the startup, um, I heard that the 101 was on the block, and I was like, "What the hell? Like, let's see what
yeah,
the price is for that thing," you know?
I
yeah.
love it. Just
And
you just go for it.
I went for it, and I was
Yeah,
kind of surprised by the price,
yeah.
and so I went for it, and I think it was a second and a fourth
Mhm.
in the startup for the
Okay,
101.
right.
Um, and so I had the 101 and the 103. I
Yeah.
took Allen and Lamar.
Yep.
And I immediately from there, I was like, I think I'm going to be taking veterans.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so then every single move I made, and I thought you guys did an incredible job with the breakdown. I was like
Oh, thank you.
really, I was really like, I felt super validated by that breakdown yesterday because
Go.
you guys noticed every wide receiver I did take
Oh, yeah.
was, I was sweating every single pick, like down
Yeah.
to the, every
Oh, yeah.
wide
You must have been
receiver.
like praying for like
Yeah.
Cedric Tillman to
Yeah.
fall to that one pick. I mean, that
Yes.
was
Oh,
just like
you're
the
welcome.
most
You're
perfect
welcome
pick for your
because
team, man.
Yeah.
I was so close, but I took Spears, hoping you would not take Tillman.
Oh man. Yeah, no, there was some dude, I got sniped 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Just there was a couple wide receivers that got taken where I was just brokenhearted about it. A
Oh,
couple
I'm
of them.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I made a couple of mistakes too where I just couldn't help myself, but I kind of tried to do two things at once.
Mhm.
I really loved the range of 112 to 204 in the rookie draft. That's
Oh,
just like
okay.
my
Yeah.
favorite range to attack.
Yeah.
Um,
You got like
and
4 picks in a
so,
row there at one point. I
yeah,
think you did some trading after that. You traded up, I think, to get Tyler Warren. But yeah, you definitely went for that range for sure.
I did. And I just, because I've just, in every rookie draft I've been in, there's always been one or two guys that have fallen
Yep.
that I have, and this was the one rookie draft where that didn't happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh, so I was just
Go
kind of
figure.
depressed about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
that
yeah, you
being,
end up, I guess,
yeah,
kind of like reaching, although I don't think it was a bad pick at all for Jaden Higgins, who's a receiver I'm pretty high on. And so I think that was cool that you just weren't like a complete prisoner to ADP, but
right.
yeah, you took what you thought was the best player available, I'm assuming there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I actually really like the long term upside of Burden quite a bit.
Okay.
Um, and and I
But you
have
already
and I
had at
have
least like one or two other shares of Burden, I think, right? So maybe you're trying to diversify a little there.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have this roster that I have. I have more guys on this roster in this league that I have zero shares of in any other
Oh,
league.
I
That
love that.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like I have no Henry, I have
Yeah.
no Saquon, I have no Warren, I have
Yeah.
no Higgins. You just go down the list. Like I have none of these guys in
Yeah.
any other league.
I
So
mean, you sound
for
like a
me, this
dynasty
is
veteran already. You're considering the
yeah,
portfolio and
Yeah.
yeah, using the low buy-in league to get like all the shares of players that you don't have any
Yeah.
shares of. I
yeah,
mean, like,
yeah.
welcome to the club, man. Like, I mean,
Oh
you're a
yeah.
vet now.
Except for Richardson.
Oh
My
Yeah.
yeah.
God,
Oh,
do
but
I
you got
have a
him
lot
now.
of
You got him
Oh
now.
Richardson?
man.
Yeah,
Now we're
I love it.
talking.
Yep,
That's
I
Yeah,
my
have a lot of
guy.
Richardson, and it wasn't necessarily by design, but that
yeah,
is a big part
Yeah.
of why I did what I did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I
Well,
see.
yeah,
let's
Yeah.
segue into that, and hopefully
Yeah.
Randy joins us at some
We're-
point. But you send away your 2028 first, 3 years out. You get back Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, so you lock up the cold starting quarterback spot. I kind of have a theory about possibly why you did it, but I can't say for sure. Do you want to hear what that is, or do you want to tell
yeah.
us what motivated it?
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
I would love to hear. I would love to
Yeah, I mean,
hear
my
what you guys
thought. I
say
mean, if
first.
I were to make that kind of move in your situation where I already had like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be like dying to move either of those players. But what I'm thinking is that if you feel confident enough about, whoever's the quarterback there, whether it's Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, I mean, either way, both of them run the ball. That's good for producing fantasy points. Um, could you, if I was to make that move, I would be thinking like, can I potentially move one of Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen and just get an absolute king's ransom package of maybe picks, probably a wide receiver in there, maybe two wide receivers in there, and you just like fill out your lineup. I mean, I think you could trade either one of those quarterbacks for a ton, and then boom, now all of a sudden you have that complete roster. I mean, maybe you even get like a veteran tight end if you're concerned about Tyler Warren starting out slow just because he's a rookie. Sometimes tight ends take a while to develop. So I could see a move like that being good for your team where all of a sudden you get this big package back and now all of a sudden you're loaded at your two starting receivers. You got an awesome veteran tight end. Maybe you got some picks. And hey, you still got a pretty good fantasy quarterback in your super flex spot in the whoever the Colts starting QB is. So that was my thought. But what were you thinking? Did you just like having the insurance of a third quarterback, or what motivated that trade for you?
Yeah, for me it was insurance with
Okay.
I see there's just such a wide range of outcomes with that trade. Like
Yeah.
for me,
Agreed.
it is such a wild card. It's
Yeah.
like to me it was such a fun gamble. It's like this is a
Mhm.
very I first of all, when I sent the offer, I thought there's a very low likelihood that he'll accept this.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, you know, I looked at keep trade cut. You
Mhm.
can't even punch 2028 first into keep trade cut. So I
Exactly.
punched a late 2027 first,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that far off.
Okay.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, it should be lower than this anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I've got it on value
Okay.
with the cumulative of those two players.
Right.
But even then, the first is definitely the higher of the two assets. It's the best asset.
It's the best piece of it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a first.
Yeah.
But it's so many years out. I just thought I really don't think that most managers are going to accept this offer.
Yeah.
And from my roster, with what little I had that was liquid that I could sell, because I'm not
Right.
selling anything. I
Yeah.
want every single thing on my roster right now,
Right.
including Benson, right? Like I
Yeah.
love the fact that I got Benson. Like whenever
100%.
that guy decides that he wants to take his 5 yards per carry and allow that to be a factor this year, if Connor goes
Yeah.
down, I'll just cash that in. Like there's little bits and pieces that I have. Higgins, if Nico goes down and Higgins becomes who I'm hoping he could be at any point throughout this season, like wonderful. Like
Yeah.
there's reasons why I did these things, the moves that I made. Um, so I don't want to get rid of any one of those players.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
one of the scrubs or the rookies
Mhm.
should have
I,
huge upside is kind of what
Oh
I'm
yeah.
thinking.
yeah.
Like
I can
I should
understand
take
that. The
big swings is
yeah.
what I'm thinking. Big swing players, not low floor players. So like
Oh yeah.
is kind of what I'm like highly
Yeah.
volatile because
Yeah.
the one thing I'll say about myself as a manager so far is
Mhm.
I am not afraid of blowing up a team.
Yeah.
I'll blow up a team in 48 hours.
Oh yeah. You will.
I can make 20 moves in 48 hours
This
and
is the
That's not
most
even an
interesting.
exaggeration.
This is the single most interesting thing that I know about you. I don't know enough about you as a manager to be like, I want to bet against or for or whatever against this guy. But that's the one thing I know is like, dude, that I think it was one of the first things like Jacob had said is like, oh, 28-101. And all I'm thinking is this dude has Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, like every point scoring running back. Like, dude, there's literally like I don't feel confidently that there's a world where there's a world that doesn't exist where you might not have a single player on that team you have right now. Like
Yeah.
going into next offseason, if things start breaking a certain way, there's also a scenario where maybe you own like most of these guys still, but then it's next season. Dude, you could go through an entire rebuild, win a championship,
Yeah.
rebuild, come back
Yeah.
out and win another championship, and then your 28 first is like
Right.
the 112. So like
Right.
when you say there's a wide range of outcomes on your first or on this deal, like that's like an understatement. Like literally, it's like I don't want to say it's like a roll of die, but like if you're receiving it, that's how I'm looking at it because I can't control anything you do. You have
Right.
all these star players and the two of the best three players in Dynasty. Those two players can fill out an entire lineup and more. Like
Yeah, just liquidating them or
liquidating them.
trading down from them. So like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Even if those running backs age out, like just Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson,
You can fund a whole team.
You can do so much. You can like fill out a whole starting lineup just
Yeah.
like trading those guys away. So that's why
Yeah.
like just knowing you as a manager, like you're not the manager I'm like circling
Yeah.
and like, oh yeah, you're gonna bet against that guy's first, even if it is a few years out on a team that has some older players. So
Right.
yeah. I mean,
Right.
yeah, you know what you're doing here. I mean, you take some gambles, but you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one thing I'll say too is that like on the 2028 first in particular, is that if I was the kind of manager who thought, oh my God, that 2028 first might be a 101
Yeah.
in 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, like, first of all, my hope is that I'll be contending every single year. And if I am gonna tank, like, basically I should be able to be in the middle of the pack for the next, at least this year. I should be a serious contender this year with what I have.
Oh yeah.
If I need to get rid of Lamar or
Yeah.
Allen, I can be in the middle of the pack for the
Yeah.
next 2 years. Like, I can lose Kamara, I can lose Henry, and still
Yeah.
be in the middle of the pack and have a shot at the playoffs for the
Yeah.
next 2 or 3 years easy. I think, like,
Yeah.
in other words, I think I should be in the mix.
Yeah.
Just, I
If you
mean,
want to be, yeah.
Pretty much,
if
yeah.
I
If you
want to
want to
be,
be, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the key. Like, even like you could just go right now to say the same thing about Saquon. It's like, yeah, I mean, you could just go off Saquon, replace him with a productive player, and like get a whole nother awesome asset on
yeah,
top with his value. And it's not just the quarterbacks. Like that's what's like scary about betting on your team.
Betting against that.
Yeah, it's like betting against it is like I don't know what you're gonna do, and like I had word that you were shopping that 28 first, and like because Trent had told me about an offer that you had sent him, and like gets to my opinion of like the 28 first whole thing, is like you sent that offer for James Conner, and I'm like, yeah, Trent, you should like probably accept that, but like I don't know if like we're alive, man. Like we don't know. Like, what if that's the 2028 112 and like I get it. You should accept it if it was like a $200 league.
he
Yeah,
should have smashed it. I could not believe, and I withdrew that like
yeah.
5 minutes later, and I was like, Joey, that was stupid.
The answer is like you should just accept that deal because you can just find a way to work around it. But at the same time, it's like, dude, like I what am I gonna do with this thing? Like you're just completely, especially in a start 11 where like every starter matters. If you had a plan on contending, man, I mean losing a whole player, like it's just so hard to value what exactly a 2028
It's too far away.
It's so far.
Honestly, I've gotten some trade offers recently where I was saying earlier I've been getting a bunch of trade offers for Rondé Gadsden, who's been getting some of the hype and OTAs.
Yeah.
And one manager in particular keeps offering me like 2028 picks, trying to get a Rondé Gadsden off of me, and it's like I mean I could look at it that like okay I got him in like I think in one league I got him in like the 5th round because it's like not even a tight end premium, and he's offering me like a 4th and 28. Then I think he like upped it to like a 3rd and 28. And it's like, okay, I guess I'm gaining 2 rounds, but like it's 3 years away. Like that doesn't even seem real to me.
I'm losing,
like,
yeah. Like,
yeah, and the reason he's not offering earlier picks is because he doesn't have any. He's the kind of manager he just typically just kind of blows through all his picks. And I'm not saying like that's like wrong. I mean, I know you're doing a bit of that here, Joey, but you're building a hell of a team, as a result of it, which is the idea, obviously. But this manager probably isn't quite as savvy and responsible as you are. And he's more so just like trading from the future because he has to. And it's like, I kind of feel like I'm bailing him out if I accept like a 28 3rd or 4th for a Rondé Gadsden. So that's why I don't like really accepting picks 3 years out. Cause it's often from the manager who like, that's all he has left. And I kind of feel like I'm making it easy on him to even like view that as like real currency and accept that, and then now give him a player. So it's like I'm not going to make it that easy on him. So that's why, I mean, I really have to be blown away to accept a pick 3 years out as like anything substantial in a trade.
That's why I was surprised that I was able to get the deal done, and then even more surprised that on the chat, just the reaction that was what it was. I think it was I think it just seeing 2028, a first 2028 for the Colts quarterback room on my team with my it was admittedly a bizarre trade.
Yeah, it's the kind of trade, like, you could look at it so many different ways. You could say, like, Jared got fleeced. You could say Joey got fleeced. I mean, it like so many different ways to look at it. But I think often people just look and all they see is like, oh, a first. You spend a first. Like, wait a minute, it's 3 years out. Like, you got to factor that in.
I just think that the price. I just think for me that's kind of a cheap price. Like that's how I looked at it. Was like it's kind of cheap. Like really, like considering what I'm trying to do right now. Like to me it was like really worth it. Like I could okay. Like let me give you some scenarios. Okay, I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm thinking about the careers of Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. Okay, these are guys who highly touted, drafted high, thrust into the limelight, absolutely destroyed their careers to the point of
no return.
like basically butt fumble status.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they had the ability to develop, and then wouldn't you know, their talent was realized, and in the right situation they flourished. Okay, that's Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. There is a world that both of these guys could end up on two different rosters in the next 2 to 3 years,
and that's
and both get a contract and both be productive. I could cash in like so much on both of these guys in the next 2 to 3 years. You just don't know. I just
that's
to
the
me,
pro.
I see the upside.
Yeah, that's the pro, because I could give a huge pro for Colossal side of like, okay, he does get a 28 101, and it's like, dude, you better have like gotten this scenario at AR and Daniel Jones and that. But that's the thing. It doesn't really matter. It actually really doesn't matter where they're at in 3 years. They could have went and had these peaks and valleys, and if you make the right move at the right time, you could have gotten double the price of like what you just sent away in the 2028 first right now, right? But that's the thing, dude. What if I told you in, what was that, 2022, that someone had sent a 28 first for Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold right now, or like back then or whatever, right? I guess it would be a 2025 first or whatever, right? And let's just say that's the 112, right? You get Jackson Dart as an option there, but in the meantime, you've gotten to take advantage of 2 of Baker Mayfield's like what QB1 seasons, Sam Darnold's QB8 performance. In the meantime, and both have gotten contract extensions. No, everyone would have told you you're crazy.
That's assuming that you hadn't dropped him, and
everyone would have told you were crazy.
Tucked your tail.
Panthers, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. That was a real quarterback room, and that's like the exact bet you're making. Now, does this happen with AR? Like, I hope so. And Daniel Jones, I have no idea, but we know it's in the range of outcomes. Especially Baker Mayfield and Darnold don't even have the rushing like upside like Daniel Jones and AR. So even from like their stylistic, the way they score fantasy points, like I would almost argue it's a little more likely that we see them be relevant, or I don't do they get to the peak of Baker right now? I don't know, but I think that's a really good point, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of blew my mind there because I was so focused on the fact of like, okay, you lock up the Colts starting quarterback. My mind didn't even go to like future years of like, wait a minute, like these guys could end up on different teams. Like, what if they both work out as like, the next Baker Mayfield or Geno Smith or whatever? Even if just one of them does, like you probably got like your money's worth on it. But just to present the counter argument for Jared's side of this, are you confident, just looking individually at Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, if you have either one of these guys on a dynasty team right now, can you confidently move Anthony Richardson and even get like a second right now? Like maybe someone would, but maybe not in the league you're in. Yeah.
There's no chance you can't.
Can you confidently move Daniel Jones and think you're going to get a second for Daniel Jones? Maybe if you're lucky, right? So you have 2 players, neither of which you can confidently say are worth a second, but yet somehow combined and giving a first that's 3 years out, there's a world in which like you run away with this trade, or you could get completely fleeced. I mean, it could go, so many different ways. I mean, such a wide range of outcomes. So it's really a fascinating trade. I mean, you could really argue it so many different ways of, you fleece Jared or Jared fleeced you. I mean, it's really a fascinating trade to discuss here.
Yep. I agree. I agree, and I I think that he depend. I can't say that I spent too much time looking at his roster, and I don't know
Yeah.
his long term strategy. But at the end of the day, like I understand. I feel like I made him a deal he couldn't refuse.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because I can see
I
it from
what?
Jared's perspective. Like he's looking at two
First, yeah.
players, neither of which is like confidently worth a second. But if
Yeah.
I package them together, someone's giving me a first. Like I could see the instinct of like, oh my god, I can't hit accept on this fast enough. But then maybe afterwards you think, well, gosh, wait, it is 3 years from now, and then you start thinking about what individually Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson could become on different teams. So
You know
yeah,
what
such
I
a
would
range
you,
of
do you know
outcomes.
what I would do if I was him? Is I would take that first and immediately go sell that for something right now
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if everyone in
while
the league
everyone's talking
says
about
it's
it.
so valuable, then okay, well, what are you going to offer
Go to
me
Jalen
for
off.
it?
You know, Jalen
Yes.
like, hey, it's sell him. That's a 28
Hey,
101. You
that's a
just
good
said it
idea.
yourself.
Yeah.
That
There you
yeah,
go.
that's where it
Yeah.
gets interesting because like that's I think the controversial side for the Jared thing is like I just truly don't know what that's worth. And when I brought up that I knew you were selling it for James Conner, you offered that. I was like, would I sell this? Would I sell any player in my on my team that is scoring points for that 2028 first in this specific league and scenario? It's like, yeah, I probably should. I was like, yeah, he could definitely use a Calvin Ridley if he throws in a 2028 third or something on top. Yeah, maybe I'll send him that off. So I sent you the offer. I didn't even give you the Ridley for the 2028 for straight up. I'm like, I want another pick on top because like it's in 2028. Like I like Calvin Ridley. Like I just sent
Yeah.
a 207 for him. So it's like, yeah, 207. Like that's probably worth a 2028 first in a
Yeah. You could
$30
argue.
buy-in league. Like that's how I
Argue
was
that.
thinking about it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you get these points. Like yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, you said the value wasn't there enough, but like I guess like I was able to like test like how I thought about that 2028 first. So like I can confidently
Yeah.
say I'm not too into it, but at the same time I'm not also too into like what you did. Though I understand your that's what I said in the chat was I just don't feel strongly I would accept this deal if I'm on either sides of this. Like
Yeah.
you could have put me on your
I
team.
understand that too. I do.
I don't want anything to do with 28 first.
It's
I'm
just
not sending
bizarre.
them. It is. I'm not sending them.
It's
I'm
like
not receiving
it's
them.
like all I had. It's like literally all I had, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that's the only reason that trade happened. It wasn't that if I wouldn't have gone to the 2028 first if I had some other seconds that I thought
Yeah.
I could like make. But like, I'm looking at the calculator and I'm like, can I swallow that? Like, I've never done a deal like that before. I think this works for me. Like, whatever. I just
Yeah.
sent it and I'm like, I think I'm all right with this. And after all of this conversation and debate and everything else, and like actually thinking about it, this is one of those deals where I feel fine.
Okay.
And it's interesting because like I was like, like this chat is going off. Like there's been some really wild reactions to this
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
trade. I'm like, I actually really don't agree with this take, that like I got fleeced. Like,
Mhm.
I think that I and normally take a step back and I'm like, oh man, did I lose that trade?
Mhm.
But this one I think is hard to evaluate because it's
It's
2028.
Yeah.
this is
You
one
don't see
where
it every day.
yeah, this is literally one where like genuinely like I don't think you can like that's kind of where I stand. It's like I don't really have my strong opinion is that I don't really like have one for this trade because we don't know. Like there's if you have a very very strong opinion about this, like again, how do you know that okay, AR and Jones will make it or won't make it, and then how do you know that's going to be a early 2028 in 1200 days or the 112? We literally do not have the information in front of us, and I honestly like I don't even know you as a manager enough to like that would be my biggest pro 2028 or 2020 future pick is like it's just a straight manager bet. I don't know enough about you to be like Yeah, I'm betting on him against him. He's gonna give me the 101. Like I might do that with
Right.
some people.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I
also, it's just the fact that, I mean, just looking at it from Jared's side, a first is never going to go down in value.
yeah.
And so it's going to steadily increase in value. The problem, of course, is that it's going to take 3 years for it to fully mature in value,
Yeah.
to fully peak in value. Now, you could sell it at some point before then, but you
But
might
it's
not
not
get
going
the
to be
full
the
credit
fully.
for it.
Yeah, it's
So,
not going to be the fully realized value of like.
exactly. So, yeah, you want to kind of talk about dilemmas here on the premiere of Dynasty Dilemma. That'd be sort of
Yeah.
a dilemma once I own that 28 first, is like, when do I sell it? But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where if the rest of the league is recognizing is like, hey, that's a first,
Yeah.
then, if other people perceive it as value, well, then maybe it has more value right now than we're giving it credit for. So I think it'll be interesting. I don't know if Jared is planning on shopping that 28 first, like we're suggesting, like maybe he should. But if other managers see that as a valuable piece, then yeah, Jared could do just fine in this trade. He won't have to wait 3 years, but it really depends on how the rest of the league sees it. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and I have no idea what the market is for, because I guess I have kind of an idea of how I feel about it. Like,
well, we see how the league cat reacted to it.
Yeah,
but it's one thing to make comments, and it's another to like actually have an offer put in their inbox and like, okay, put your money where your mouth is now. What are you giving up for this 28 first? And then that's when you find out the truth of how they really value a pick that's 3 years out. So it'll be fascinating to see how that plays out.
Might see it traded. Who knows? Yeah, that would be really interesting, especially someone felt pretty strongly for the first
hey, maybe Jared has the last laugh. I mean, maybe we get a sleeper notification on our phone pop up. A trade has been completed. Like, wait a minute, he got what for that 28 first? So I'm very interested to see what Jared's going to do with that pick. So I'm definitely not writing him off in this deal. And I don't know if I have like a firm opinion about like who won the trade or whatever. I mean, I just think it was an interesting one to talk about. But yeah, I'm interested to see what Jared does with it.
The one thing I was going to mention is like, there's one thing for certain. If you take the 2028 first side, like, because it's going to gain technically, he that's the one like prerequisite. You avoid disaster. You truly avoid disaster, because the upside, I guess, of like, you would still have to capitalize on the quarterback side of, maybe they spike and then fall back down. So like all the risk on Joey's side, which is it's like the analogy I use. Like right now, Jared's gaining the $500 a week, and Joey's just getting like the
lottery,
and then Joey's getting like the. It's funny because it's like you're getting the payout right now. You could cash out, but like, hey, you could also invest that payment, right? Like and hold on to them, and then like it could double, it could triple. So it's like, dude, this is gonna be a fun trade to track.
Yeah.
We'll have to track Jones and I know you will be pretty closely.
Yeah.
Yeah, one factor too that I should throw out there too is like, I kind of thought about this trade a little bit in terms of it's called pot odds in poker.
Okay.
And that is when you make a calculation based on how much is currently invested in the pot in the middle of the table versus how much you have to call the bet to win the pot. So, it's like the fourth round of betting, it's the last round of betting. Someone goes all in. Let's say there's 1,000 chips in the middle of the pot, and all you have left is 20 chips. You're so pot invested, you're gonna win 1,000 chips, and all you have to bet is 20 more.
Yeah.
Even if you only have a 5% chance of winning, you're crushed. You're pot invested, so you always call. Well, right now I have so much Anthony Richardson that I just went for it because I'm pot invested. Does that make sense?
Oh,
so for me, that was part of why I did what I did. So I thought I would throw that out there. Just for me,
I love
that was part of the logic.
I'm imagining Teddy KGB and Rounders, dropping the chips, saying I'm all in, So
that's right. And this is a league where I actually don't need Anthony Richardson, and I got the Daniel Jones thrown in as a hedge on my bet, and the value wasn't that far off, and all I had was a first, anyways. Like, to me, all those things lined up, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude! Like, this is fun. So. That's kind of like the most honest like straight down the middle, like impulse. That's really what happened.
Yeah.
All
And
theory aside.
Yeah, I love the way
Yeah.
you play Dynasty, Joe. I mean, you just like, you just like go for it. It's just like, you play it for the fun of it. You don't like overthink things too much. You're aggressive. You're a bit impulsive at times, but in a good way. But you still think things through, even when you're doing something just spontaneous like that. And yeah, I think you just embrace like the fun of Dynasty, and that's what it's supposed to be at the end of the day. So yeah, I just love that you just like go for it when you see an opportunity.
For sure. This is what is so amazing about Dynasty is that all of this is happening in the off season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In our
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
heads.
this is Dynasty season. I mean, like when we get to the season, then it's just like even in Dynasty leagues, you're essentially just playing like a redraft, like at that point.
Yeah.
But like this is the Dynasty season. Like there is no off season for Dynasty. So yeah, this is the time. It's so much fun.
Oh, without a doubt. Like I was thinking today, I'm like, man, I just cannot wait to see Tyler Warren on a football field. Like I just have to see, like, is this dude for real? Like I just can't, I just honestly, like, that
Yeah.
dude he's a monster. Like, is he gonna hit or not? Like I just can't wait to see.
You got
like,
the stack now. I just realized too.
Oh,
I know.
very nice. I
I
didn't think
know.
of that.
Dude, I'm all about the Colts. Like if everyone's like, man, this team sucks,
Mhm.
then I'm like, yeah, I kind of want a little piece of that team. Like Miami, I'm the same way.
I see.
I'm like, yeah, give me a little bit of Miami because we all kind of know what happened. Like the stats with Tua versus without Tua, like it's great. It's like, yeah, give me a little bit of Waddle for sure. Give me a little bit of that of Miami. Like,
Mhm.
like if Tua's on the field, like
Yeah.
we
Chain all the
saw what
points,
that
yeah.
team's capable of. It's just insane. Including Hill. Like that was a guy I was really hoping to get, and for some reason, I just impulsively took a kicker, and I should have taken Hill. I think, or someone sniped me. I can't remember, but
Okay.
that was someone I
Yeah.
was targeting. I think I got sniped. Yeah, I think I got sniped by Hawkeyes, and I was
Okay.
like really bummed out about that because that was like
Yeah.
that was supposed to be my like
Yeah.
my number one wide receiver target was
Oh, that would
Hill
have been
for
perfect for
sure.
your team. And of course, Blake
Yeah.
sniped you on Christian McCaffrey, so you had to settle for
Yeah,
Oh,
he
cheating.
did.
dude,
Wow,
that was
not
the
such a bad
funniest.
consolation,
Dude,
but
yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was the funniest part. Is like I do not go into drafts thinking I am gonna draft this player, but there was two players that like from doing drafts this offseason, seeing boards that I was like I need to come up, especially with the way I want to build my team. I need to come up with these two guys, and it was Christian McCaffrey, and it was also Kenneth Walker. But I ended up obviously trading to get both. But I owned 3 picks in a row, but they weren't all in a row. Joey had one after my first one. It was like 6-2. You had the 6-3 and I had the next two after. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yeah, he's taking CMC. Like there's no. He's got Derrick Henry. There's literally
Yeah.
if I could not see a more like.
yeah,
It could not be more obvious you're gonna take CMC.
the writing
I'm
was
like,
on the wall for
yeah,
that one.
and I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
guess I gotta take him here. Like I was hoping to push it back a couple picks. What does it matter? Like I just gotta hope that you don't take the guys I want next, because like I gotta take my dude. But yeah, like I thought that was it was pretty funny how you admitted like you're like, yeah, man, shit, I wanted
Oh,
to
definitely.
but dude, Hill was another one. It was kind of like DK. I had no interest in him, though. The way that draft was going, I'm thinking, man, I might need to bet on Tyreek Hill here. It's looking pretty grim at receiver, and I just never got to that point for me. So I can understand with kind of a similar start at receiver, the zero wide receiver targeting Hill.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm wondering, Joey, is how have you and I not made a trade yet in the listener league?
I
We've made
know.
so many
I know.
deals together, and all the other leagues we're in. It's like, how has one not happened yet? I just like realized that today. Like, wait a minute, like I don't think we've made a trade yet. Like, how is this even possible? And
I literally thought that today and looked at your team too. I'm like,
and it's so funny because like you're like maybe the deepest team at running back. I'm one of the deepest teams at wide receiver. So seems like there could be some what would you call it? Like kind of a symbiotic relationship there. Might be conducive to a trade. So we might have to explore that at some point.
I'm sure we'll make something happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really fun team you've put together here. I'm really excited to see how it does, and definitely not looking forward to playing against it. That is not going to be too much fun. But I look forward to some good competition. Hopefully, I'm hoping my team can keep up. I might have to make a few more deals between now and the start of the season to make that happen. But anything else you guys want to talk about before we sign off here? It is about midnight on the East Coast here. Anything else we want to cover?
I'm sure.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, go ahead, Joey.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I kind of have a hot take. Like, I'm a bit of a believer in Canine right now. Like,
Okay.
I think this might be, I think this might be the year, mainly because, as a Seahawks fan, like, I'm hearing a lot right now about them, the Seahawks switching over to the zone blocking scheme, bringing over a so-called, like offensive line guru,
Okay.
coach, like an all new, Kubiak system,
Right.
Shanahan tree system. Like, I'm
Mhm.
hearing some really good things about the zone blocking scheme and
Yeah.
like the coaching and Zabel with the first round pick there, like the best guard in the draft. Like,
Right.
a lot of the personnel guards that they had drafted the last few years,
Mhm.
supposedly these guys were like literally made for zone blocking, but they were
Yeah.
put in the wrong system. So I just think that with some better blocking, if K9 just stays healthy, he's always been explosive. Like his profile from college, like he's always graded out as just like very, very athletic, very explosive. Like if
Oh
he
yeah.
just put it all together, like I think this guy could just have an insane season. I really believe
Oh,
that.
absolutely. And it seems like from what I'm hearing, I know Joshy, who's been on our stream a few times, he was talking about how Kenneth Walker seems to fit that new zone blocking run system better than like Zach Charbonnet does. So I think that's good to hear. We saw Alvin Kamara just have a fantastic season under Kubiak on the Saints last season. So it does feel like the stars are all kind of aligning. So I guess like the one remaining variable would be his health, which sometimes Kenneth Walker struggles with. But if
That's
he's healthy, like
yeah.
I could definitely see him having a monster season. And I remember the one game I really watched at Kenneth Walker last season was the Monday night game against the Lions, and like holy cow, like I knew Kenneth Walker was a good player, but like I don't know, he just looked like superhuman in that game. It was like holy crap, like this guy looks like one of the best running backs in the league. So maybe we just caught him in that one game where it was like fully healthy and you could really see what he's capable of. But yeah, I think he's a
Mhm.
heck of a talent.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you because sometimes, especially in the off season, we can fall really like dormant on players and just like not remember clearly. And it's probably because K9 himself had a pretty slow end of the season. But
Mhm.
man, like he was just insane last year, and he was getting the receiving work. And there's
Yeah.
all this stuff you said about this the blocking. I think my favorite part about like on K9 and why I'm like kind of mad at myself that I only have my second one after this draft is like, dude, I could tell a really good story about K9 in all his price, even if he was going back in the same situation as he was like last year. And now
Right.
then you add the whole
Right.
offensive line
New
and the blocking
coach,
scheme.
new linemen, yeah.
And it's like, man, like even more reason to be high on this guy. And oftentimes he's making it to the seventh round in the startup. I didn't let him get there by 2 picks in our league, but like I'm just seeing some back. I'm seeing basically every back go ahead of him from round 5 on, and I can't confidently say I'd take like any of them over K9,
Mhm.
with exception to like the ultra productive Henrys and CMCs. Like I get it because
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're them, but
and he's young.
exactly.
Like he's just, I think he's just forgotten about. I know that he's had health issues, but like one of the reasons for that, I think, honestly, is has to do with um like all the travel to the East Coast, the 10 a.m. starts. Like that's kind of tough on the body too. And like this
Okay.
year, they have one of the best schedules with no 10 a.m. starts on the East
Oh,
Oh,
Coast. Like
nice.
there's just a lot of things going on that is going to be better. I think that's not like the best point I have, but
Oh,
but the
it's interesting
that's a
though, because
pretty
like a
unique
lot of
one.
times you see West Coast teams flying to the East Coast and playing in like 1 p.m. Eastern time game, which to them is like 10 a.m. And a lot of times you just see those teams like come out and just completely flop, and it's like, oh man, like why didn't that team show up this Sunday? It's like, oh wait a minute, like West Coast team flying east. So I actually think it's an interesting point, and I never thought about it from like a health perspective. So yeah, it's actually pretty interesting.
It's definitely brutal. But there was a stat I heard about how like the offensive line, I kind of considered an offensive line stat. It had to do with like how many yards the back travels before contact.
Right.
And the Seahawks were like 29th or 30th or something like that in the NFL for like the last 2 years.
Oh
And I
wow.
just think that like really takes a toll on a running back when he's just
Yeah.
like, and so I just think that like the offensive, sorry, the zone scheme, you've got like athletic pulling guards and you have some space, and I just think that should help get a guy like K9 who's so explosive, some space, and with some space, like he won't always be bogged down with all of that contact.
Mhm.
I just think he might have a little bit healthier of a season, and like he's just not he's not the kind of guy who's like a huge running back like Derrick Henry who can just take all of that. He's not Charbonnet or Henry, like
Right.
he's not meant for that. He kind of needs some space. And so I
Yeah.
just think this scheme could be way different for a guy like him, both from a health perspective but
Mhm.
also for a numbers perspective. I just think he could have a massive year.
Oh yeah, I mean,
But yeah.
if he's getting some better blocking and the coaches are putting him in better situations to succeed, where he's not getting hit like right when he gets the ball or
Yeah.
right when he gets to the line of scrimmage, like that could be huge. Yeah, both for his production and his health and durability over the course of the season. So yeah, you guys are definitely making me want to buy some Kenneth Walker, who I was already like pretty high on and wishing I had a share of. But yeah, I might need to make that happen. So
You just gotta
I like.
go to sleep watching those Lions game highlights,
Oh
doing
God!
the
Oh God!
backflip with the
I'm
guy
telling
on
you, he
him.
looked so explosive in that game. It was like, holy
Yeah,
cow! Like, I mean, he looked like rejuvenated. Like I don't know. I've never
he.
seen like Kenneth Walker like look so good as he did in that game. So
But by
yeah,
the
he's.
way, same age as R.J. Harvey. Just want to throw that out there. And
Oh God! Hey,
cheaper,
come on! No,
cheaper,
no,
cheaper than R.J. Harvey.
we don't
And
need
this
any
isn't an
cheap shots
anti
for
R.J.
RJ
Harvey.
Harvey here.
It's
Come
not
on!
anti R.J. Harvey. That's pro K9 if I've ever heard it. Could you
All right,
imagine if
I'll buy
K9 was
that.
a rookie right now? Or if he was a second year back, I mean, and imagine he was a
Man.
second year back, and that's the season we just saw from him. This dude would be like, he'd be like higher than Bucky Irving right now. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
The contract has to do with your value. You want to be on the rookie contract, but man, K9, yeah, I agree. I've been one of the people sleeping, and I've woken up recently on
What are you guys paying to get Kenneth Walker in a typical dynasty league? I mean, you sending like a
any late
late
first.
26 projected first, like and sleeping like a baby, or like what are you offering?
Any late first this year. I would legitimately send like two, like the 204 and the 205 with like out hesitation for the
Okay.
203 and the 205. Just the way I would build a team, like
Yeah.
those picks would line up for me to take them. Like I'd be that high
Okay.
on
So
them.
yeah, like one pick like in that top 15, and then like one just outside of it, you would send like both those for Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I mean I know Joey's high on that range, so like I don't know
Yeah.
if he would agree with that, but I'd be
I think I
comfortable.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's not too bad of a price at the end of the day, and maybe even get like a late third or like a fourth
Yeah.
kick back in that deal. Make it an
Yeah.
even 2 for 2. So
But
yeah, I think I could get on board for something like that.
anything past pick 7, like I'm open to trading, and even at pick 7, like I'll do that if I get something decent on top because you should be able
Yeah.
to price wise. So
Yeah,
My favorite my favorite thing to do, I think what I did, I just can't remember which running back it was, is when I sense that there is a running back like Kenneth Walker, who I know the owner who's had him has been dealing with the injury
yeah,
concerns, is that I will down tier from another running back and then I'll
Mhm.
get something on top to
Right.
get K9
yeah,
because I'm taking a swing on K9, so I'll like maybe get something on top
Oh yeah, I love that.
and down tier from an older,
yeah.
more productive running back
like,
that owner prefers.
What if you have what if you have Saquon? Could you get Kenneth Walker in a first, maybe something like that, or close?
I should be able to.
Hawkeyes made that deal, but the inverse. Hawkeyes sent away K9 in a first, and when I saw that, I'm like, dude, like I wasn't even as high as I am now. I'm like, I would take K9 to be honest, like that side of the first, but also I was thinking JT, like the way that startups go, JT, Kyron, Jacobs, every single running back in that range that goes like 2 rounds higher than them, I can't make the argument for them even just being that high above them. Like to me, I can't get behind that. I would rather wait the 2 rounds. So like all those guys would be great down tier candidates. It might be harder in a real league though, outside the startup.
I think I did something like that, and I got a couple of those looky emojis.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what I got thrown in, but I down tiered from one of those running backs in the range, and I got something thrown in on top. I was pretty happy with the deal. I thought it was pretty smart, but I'm a Seahawks fan, so.
That's right.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I like the take. I mean, I'm gonna have to get a Kenneth Walker share here now for sure. And also, we got a name in the chat that I don't recognize, Jamie Parag. I don't know, Blake, if that rings a bell to you.
Nope.
But he says, "What kind of dynasty dilemma we talking tonight?" So I don't know if he's like a league mate of ours from somewhere, but in any case, welcome to the channel, Jamie. Go back and watch the replay if you want to hear some of the different dilemmas we discussed on this debut episode of this new show here. And also we have Cooper in the chat saying Colts defense is horrific, so that will always keep me interested in Colts offensive players. Yeah, I think that's an underrated factor to consider. Like, bad defense is always good for owning players on the offensive side of the ball in fantasy. So I'm definitely a big fan of that. It'll be interesting to see what that Colts offense looks like this year. A lot of interesting players. I took Josh Downs in the startup draft in the listener league. You know, you got Tyler Warren, and now you got the 2 QBs. Should be an interesting offense to see. I know they lost a bunch of offensive linemen, so that might be a little bit of a concern, but hopefully they figure that out. And I think we should probably wrap up. So we're at it's 12:15 after midnight here on the East Coast. So I think we want to be wrapping it up here. But I want to say thank you everyone for joining us. And Joey, thanks so much for coming on. It's great to have you back on a live stream. And I think we had you on the first episode of Dynasty Goats, and so now we got you on the first episode of Dynasty Dilemma. So I think from now on, like when we debut a new show, like you got to be the first guest.
Well. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you guys started the listener league. It's awesome.
Oh, dude, and we should say, you inspired it. Like, you were in you just randomly discovered us on YouTube one day. Like, we didn't know who the heck you were, and you were in the live chat, and you're like, hey, how do I get in a league with one of you guys? And here we are. Like, now you're on a live stream, and we're talking about the league that we're all in now. You know, bringing the whole Dynasty savvy community together. So it's been so much fun. I'm so glad that you got our brains thinking about that, and it's just been so fun to kind of bring this whole little community that we have here together. And honestly, it's instantly my favorite league that I'm in. Everyone's so passionate. Like the league chat's so active, so many trades are happening. You can just tell everyone in this league just loves Dynasty. So it's just been so much fun.
Yep. The draft was amazing. Just watching everybody create such interesting rosters, and how we all kind of took our time and so many trades, and hopefully we created a tradition today in the chat. When it gets really interesting, we just take it to the pod.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. People are definitely have their opinions in this league, and a lot of smart people, and I completely agree with you. So many different interesting builds coming out of the startup draft and the rookie draft. So I think it's gonna be a fascinating season to see what teams end up contending and making the playoffs and really making a serious run to the championship. Hopefully. I feel pretty good about all 3 of our teams. So I'm hoping all 3 of us are in the playoffs, contending for that year 1 championship. So that's going to be a lot of fun competing against each other.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Good deal. Well, yeah, can't wait for that. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Like the stream, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next stream. I think probably Sunday. I assume we're going to be doing Dynasty Goats on Sunday, so